Hi everyone, I am a tiny little bit late, which is why I am not jumping on the screen. It's just going to be me, and I haven't got everything prepared, so I shall be probably reaching and grabbing for things as I need them, which is okay because I do actually have them in my bag beside me. Oops, let me just get myself all sorted. So we are going to be making this card today. Let me let me get myself all set up, see if I can zoom in just a smidge. Okay, hey everyone, good morning, good morning. It's one of those Monday mornings. I'm just going to share to a couple of my groups, so bear with me. Just going to share to my team, my customer, and I got one more, that one there. Okay, so this is the card that we're going to be making today. It's a bit of a mess in the background, but I sort of figure once you've got all your elements and stuff on there, it sort of disappears a little bit, so you'll be able to see how I've created that. And a couple of days ago I asked what colour, and somebody had suggested Highland Heather and Gorgeous Grape, so that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. I have done some stuff previously because I'm sure that you didn't want to see me try and pull the stars, the dies, the snowflake dies out of their holdings, because that took me about 10 minutes. So the stamp sets that we're using today is the Snow is Glistening, which is coming out next month. So 29, 30, 31. So on what day is that? Thursday. These are going to be available, and there is another stamp set, but I don't have it anywhere close to me at the moment. I don't think. My room is such a mess. You'd all be appalled if you came to visit me. And we're going to be using the dies that match them. So I'm going to be using this big one here and this one here. Try and get it in the screen. This one here, and also the cutout from this one here. Good morning everyone coming in. Okay, so I will just gather myself. I tell you what, it has definitely been one of those Monday mornings already. Okay, so to start with, I'm just going to explain a little bit. I am going to do a little bit of embossing to show you, because that one was a little bit tricky, and I want to be able to show you how I'd managed to get around that. But because the sentiment actually overhangs a little bit, what I've done is trim the width of my card to 9.5 centimeters, and that way you'll still be able to fit that in your envelope without any dramas. So I have a base of the Highland Heather, and this is not my card. This is a really bad case of a Stampin' Up sample. Okay, I could not for the life of me figure out what Stampin' Up had done in the background, so I just pretty well made up my own background. So Highland Heather, and hello everyone coming in. Highland Heather and Whisper White. I don't know whether my Whisper White is cut all that straight. I'm gonna have to just track that, because that will bother me. So I will be reaching and grabbing for things out of my bag, so excuse me. I don't reckon that is cut all that straight. Let's see. Look at that. Tiny little sliver. That would bother me. And I'm just gonna make sure that that's probably a little bit better. Yep, that'll do. Okay. Now, I have cut out pieces already, like I said. I have been using this is the flocked, the velvet 12 by 12 paper that's going to be coming out. I don't know whether you can hear that. I don't know whether you can sort of see the texture in that. So that's on the velvet paper. And then what I didn't realize until I zoomed in really close is that there's actually a vellum layer as well, which I don't have on my other two cards because I missed it completely. So we have a vellum layer, And I've also stamped and embossed in gold and then cut that out. So we have our 3 layers of snowflakes. Now, for the background, which you're probably wondering, what the heck? And I even thought, what the heck? So I'm taking, and these, by the way, are, they're actually bigger than what they are on the cover. So I'm taking this one here, which is this one here. So it's got a mixture of snowflakes and dots and all sorts of things going on. So, and I'm going to use first, I've got my 2 ink pads. I'm going to use the Gorgeous Grape first, so it's quite dark. Okay, so this is going to look really, really messy, okay? I'm just pre-warning you. So, because I could not figure it out, but I figured, well, all the elements on there are going to cover the background, so we should be okay. So I'm just going to bring that out and just stamp. Swing it around. So once you've got all your bits and pieces cut out, I think it is a fairly simple card. And so this is all I've done, is just it's done that. Oh, thank you, Glennis. This is my new little venture. So I'll put the link up to that if you haven't spotted it already. Okay, so then what I did is just come in. Let me just try and get a little bit of that off there. So I just inked up a tiny little corner and just popped it around. Oops, just make sure you don't do what I just did, but that's probably going to get covered. So I just filled in a little bit of stuff there. Okay, so it's a real mess. Real mess. Now, with the second one, I'll just pop that aside, I am going to use this little one down here. Keep standing up so I can make sure you're getting in the screen. So I'm going to use this one here. And then with my Highland Heather, I can go to town on this one. But if you'll notice on this one, there is little snowflakes, and then there's like just a, it's almost like a little flower type thing. So I want my snowflakes, and I'm just going to bring them right out to the edge of my card. And you can sort of mix them in. When I did the green one, the sea foam really stood out. So this one sort of doesn't stand out as much. Like the Tranquil Tide and the sea foam, I'll show you what I mean. So you can just go around, stamp through there. See, it's a huge mess. Actually, I'm a little bit lopsided. I might just bring a little bit more out that way. Okay. So now this is where all the fun elements and stuff come together. So you'll see in this green one that I did, see how the Tranquil Tide and the sea foam are quite a different shade, whereas this one, and also the same, they're sort of similar, and it's the same with this one as well. The Coastal Cabana and the Bermuda Bay were fairly similar. So, okay, where do I need to be next? I need to be adhering this straight to my card front. Hello, if you're coming in and just watching quietly. Okay, so I'm going to stick this right to the top. I feel like I'm lopsided with that, but that's okay. I'm sure once it's all covered, it'll be fine. So I'm going to stick that right to the top of my card base and have it. Oh, look at that. That still bothers me. I know I shouldn't let it bother me, but it does. There we go. Need to get all my rubbish in order. Oh dear, don't like it when things like that, and I know that I shouldn't muck around with things because then these things happen. And they bother me even more. Oh, and now it's going to really bother me. Never mind. I'll fix that up later. You know what? I'll fix it up later because I'm going to make more of a mess. Okay. So, coming back now to, or actually, you know what I might do? I might get my other bit of necessity that I need. Okay, where am I today? I'm all over the place. I've got stuff everywhere. I so badly need to take some time and get my room cleaned. All right, I need this block. So where are we all watching from this morning? Are you a morning or are you an evening or a afternoon? I know my Canadian ladies, you're in the evening. Okay, that's it. Now, I did think that I know, I'm a worry, I'm a mess. I need to get in here and clean this room up so that I can think clearly. Right, so I am using the Merry Christmas that was from here. I did think that I would try and use a stamp set that was from a different set, a Merry Christmas, but I found that they were all way too big to fit on this end here. Like the Christmas was just, so they weren't going to fit. So we had to get a little bit creative. I just heard a beep in my house. Okay, I'll worry about that later. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I don't know whether you're going to be able to see this, I'll stand up. What I am going to do is, because I just want this Christmas, I don't want anything else, just the Christmas. So I'm going to cover everything. The Christmas part is easy, okay? I wish we had a Versa marker, you know, the ones that you can write on them. I think we did have at some stage, didn't we? So the Christmas part is fairly easy to deal with. It's the Merry that is going to be a bit of an issue. So I'm definitely going to wipe that down. Okay, and I have somehow managed to get gold all in my white tray. Okay. I think it's a car squeaking, it's not a beep. Okay, so I'm just going to ink up my Christmas, which is fine, I can do that. And then I can peel them off and I should be able to stamp my Christmas without any worries. And emboss in white. Oops. Watching from Adelaide. Yeah, I thought we had a Versa marker. I'm pretty sure that I probably have one, but it's probably that dry. Oh, just gonna try and wipe off a little bit of that. Okay, so I'll just get my heat tool. Sorry for the noise. Okay, now the Merry is a little bit tricky, okay? I will show you why. Just need to get this cleaned up. Now the other thing is, make sure you dry, if you're washing in between, make sure you dry that, because otherwise your embossing powder doesn't really, oh, geez. I nearly swore then. I nearly swore. This is where you use your palm of your hand or your jeans. Okay, just make sure that's dry. Now, the reason why the Merry is a little bit tricky, I'll bring it up and show you, is because the 2U, it's not a clear, you've got to try and block off the 2U at the same time. So I can sort of get like that. It's a little bit tricky. See how it's not really covering it all? It's a little bit on the tricky side. So we will have a crack. I will try and cover that little bit there too. And I'll do that, and then I'll try and wipe off with my finger. Just try and get anything extra off. And I'm going to leave these a fair distance apart, as this is probably an overkill, but I'm going to do it this far anyway. And then hopefully I've managed to get it. So that is the only way that I can figure out without having a Versa marker to get that. Okay, so I've picked up a little bit on the, I need a tiny little paintbrush too. I shouldn't go blowing with that there, should I? It'll be just my luck. Can you feel them, can you? Oh, you could probably, oh, I don't know. I might have to try and dig one out. I think I've got one stashed in my embossing drawer. It would be terribly handy for situations like this. Very handy. Okay, that will do. Just heat set that. I guess if you can get your pen apart, you could probably do it. All right, let me just shift all this stuff out of my way, for I am a mess. I know I've shared photos of my messy room before, but I'm even more embarrassed to show any photos. So maybe we should sandbox it, because that was tricky. That was really tricky, but it needs to be that one because the other ones are all too big. So that's a bit of a mucking around. Now, because the other issue that I had was the star in the middle, which is why I've separated them. I don't know whether I burnt that or not, which is why I separated them. So I am going to, looks a little bit burnt. Oh, I nearly cut my finger off. I'm going to trim them, and I'm going to try and trim them so that they are the same same size. Gonna try. So if I line that up with that, I should be okay, theoretically. Okay, so I've got my Christmas and need my Mary. Oh, this one's crooked. Is that right? I did stamp it very crooked, didn't I? I think. Oh, I'm going to run into trouble. I know I am. Let me do that. There we go. Goodness me. Pull the tip out. Ah, cool. I'm going to go searching for mine. Pull the tip out, refill it, and then push the tip back in. Awesome idea. Okay, now I'm just going to trim a little bit off of these because I don't quite need them like that. Make sure I've got the right. Ah, very cool. Awesome. Okay, now the reason why I have done them, and they are crooked, I'm sure that they're crooked, is because I'm actually going to stick them individually to my snowflake. I keep going to call it a star. Because otherwise, the other, if you're embossing it and you've got to separate them, you've got to figure out the width of your snowflake to figure out how to space them apart. So I figured I would just cut them in half and stick them individually, if you know what I mean. So I am going to make sure they're all lined up because one of mine that I've done previously is crooked. Alright, so I'm going to stick my Mary, pop a little bit more adhesive, and I'll do this upside down, and my Christmas. And that way it looks like I have one long piece that has not been split. And then all we need to do is trim that to 10.5. So we want that roughly there. We want them fairly evenly spaced. So that's how you can get that happening, because I was looking at it and I'm thinking, that's going to be a little bit tricky. So voila! Who is going to know? No one. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is bring these guys back in, because I am going to adhere. What do I need to do? I'm going to stick this to this. Okay, I totally missed that layer the first time I was making it, because I mean, well, it's easy to do. Now, one thing I'm going to do before I forget, and that is, I'm just grabbing it out of my bag. Here we go. I need them as well. Is to put on some gold thread. Okay. So I'm just going to put some adhesive down on there first. Pull out a good length. And I'm going to do the figure 8 for this one. So between my fingers and just weaving it backwards and forwards in a figure 8 fashion. Okay, that last one doesn't want to go in, which is fine. So pinch it in the middle and then stick it on there. And then now I can come and like fold that one in. And there's another stray one over here. I can fold that one in and stick it. But I can also separate these and stick them into different positions. So I can sort of like butterfly them out. I know there is a lot going on that card that you don't realize. So we've got something going on, whoops, something going on like that. Okay. And then, look, I'm going to try and be neat and tidy and pack things up. Then I need to find where all my, oh, look, I can't even find my dimensionals. My room is that bad. Right, so I'm going to pop that on over the top here. Everyone's very quiet again today. Must be concentrating. Concentrating big time. Okay, so then I'm going to stick that, line that up in there. See, you don't even really see that. There's so much going on in there that you don't really pick up. I guess if you had the card in hand, it would be a little bit different. Okay, and then the next bit is, we're nearly finished. Is to pop that whole thing there. That's the right way. And as soon as I pop it over here, I have just completely, whoops, I'm not really centered. That's not very good. You know, all that background mess is no longer, oh, I wonder if I can lift that up. Oh, 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 ah. It's staying. They would look good hanging on the tree, just like that. Okay, so the next bit is just to grab some of the dotted, is it tulle? Is that what it is? What's this one? Polka dot tulle. And I'm going to just adhere that straight. I don't know if there's a right side and a wrong side. Doesn't feel like it. So just going to stick that on there. and then trim my, actually I should use my scissors. Trim that off. And one last thing I forgot to do on my other card, because I completely forgot it, I didn't quite see them either, is, excuse me, I just have to grab them, is, oh, squished one, is to grab some of these frosted dots. Suppose you could put gold sequins on there too. So they had on a couple of these. And one more. Not sticking in things in places where I want them to go this time today. There we go. I feel uneven because that's not in the right spot. I might have to try and use my slide and pick it up. So that is essentially the card. All done. I wonder if I can use this to... That's bothering me. Bothering me. There we go. You know when things bother you and you've just gotta change them. Let me get all that stuff off. Best to change them because otherwise you'll look at it and you'll go, I'm not real happy with that. So I can trim up the edges. All right, now I want that a little bit more centered. I can always fix the overhang, but I can't fix that. That's a little bit better. There we go. That fits me a little bit better. So there we have it. There's my really, really badly cased card that Stampin' Up put a sample up of. I could not figure out what they'd done in the background. I think they may have done a little bit of sponging. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a fair bit going on. There you go. That looks so much nicer with, now that one's covered with these things. There we go. Ta-da! So now, there we go. I've got a little collection of them. Not too hard. If you can figure out that white embossing, that's the only tricky part. The rest is pretty simple. Like I said, it looks like a bit of a mess when you stamp your first image, like your base image, but it all gets covered up and just blends into the background. So there we go. Awesome. That's it. That's me. Thank you very much. Hope you have a crack at that. It is a nice full card. And don't forget that these will be available next month on the 1st of November. There's 5 items in the, it's not a bundle, you can buy them all individually. So yeah, thanks very much. When you get them yourself, you'll have to have a crack at them. So thanks for watching. See you next Monday. Bye.